He's been a leader. He's been the point guard. He's been the one that has opinions.
They made the choice, and so moving forward.
I think we can all agree that that was an F.
The whole league was already shook. Chris Paul got kicked off the Clippers in the coldest way. But get this, nobody saw the crazy mess coming when James Harden and Kawhi Leonard dropped a huge hint. They think Tyronn Lue had a hand in it. The story behind this is totally nuts. Imagine the scene. It is 3 a.m. Eastern Time. The date is December 4th, 2025. The Clippers are on the road in Atlanta. They're sleeping at their hotel before the Hawks game. Everyone is sleeping except Chris Paul, the 12-time All-Star, the 11-time All-NBA guard, the guy with more assists than anyone but John Stockton. He is wide awake. He just got the news. His time with the Clippers is finished. The team where he made Lob City history is done. And here is the biggest bomb.
CP3 is CP3. He's been Chris Paul for 21 years, 21 seasons. He's been a leader. He's been the point guard. He's been the one that has opinions. He was brought into the Spurs to elevate Wemby and be that veteran leadership. He was in OKC with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, teaching him how to run the squad and things like that. Obviously stops in Golden State. Chris Paul is Chris Paul. So as an organization, if you thought that he was going to come in and not say anything, then I think that that's not being aligned from the front office to the coaching staff to the locker room. And with that being said, I think losing exposes.
CP3 did not find out in some fancy front office meeting. No respectful call from the owner either. No way. He got the news during a super tense 3-hour talk. It was with Lawrence Frank, the Clippers president. It happened right there in that Atlanta hotel room. 3 hours of intense pressure. The second that meeting finished, CP3 took action. He jumped right onto Instagram and dropped the news himself. A reporter from the Basketball Bulletin got it exactly right when this story came out. Fans were furious. They could not believe how dirty the whole situation looked.
Here it is. Here's Ramona Shelburne. She posted it onto X. Just found out I'm being sent home. Peace.
Peace. That is all Chris Paul wrote. Just one peace sign emoji. That was all it took to blow up the entire basketball world. One small post from one of the greatest point guards ever. And just like that, his Clippers return crashed. But wait, it gets even crazier now. James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, the main stars, the huge faces of the Clippers, they had no clue this was happening. Think about that for a second. Harden and Leonard, the team leaders, learned Paul was gone the same way everyone else did, straight from social media. They woke up, checked their phones, and boom, total chaos everywhere. No warning from the front office, no call from Tyronn Lue, not a word from any coach. Did anyone think to tell their stars before kicking a Hall of Famer out overnight? The whole thing went down in total silence. When reporters caught Harden and Leonard after the 115-92 Hawks win that night, their faces said everything. You saw the confusion, you saw the frustration. The league was already on fire with drama. The media jumped on this story instantly, digging for every tiny detail.
The NBA and Los Angeles Clippers, who are now 5-16 and a complete disaster. They announced this morning that Chris Paul is no longer a part of their team. The Clippers sent Paul back to LA from Atlanta on a one-way ticket.
James Harden, who used to run the court with CP3 back in Houston, did not hold back, not for a second. He told reporters, "I am just as confused and shocked as all of you guys. The world definitely surprised me, but not just Chris." Then came the line, "It is a lot that we were dealing with. That is out of my hands. I gotta focus on what I can control." I guess the front office felt that was the best decision. Wait, did you hear that part? When Harden said not just "it's a lot that we were dealing with," he just let the big secret out. There is something way deeper happening inside the Clippers team. That one line blew it up. This is not just about CP3 being kicked out. This is a full-on storm behind the scenes. Harden's words made it sound like they were trying to fix serious problems, and the front office thought cutting Paul would fix everything. Then came Kawhi Leonard, the quiet guy. Kawhi never talks, but even he could not hide his shock. He called the move shocking to me, but what made it crazier was what he said next. He said they were just having good talks with Paul, talks about how to make the team chemistry better. They were planning on turning the season around, trying to make the team stronger. And then, out of nowhere, Paul is gone, like he became a problem they hated. That is wild. Some people tried to blame Harden and Kawhi, but the analysts on PTI said it loud and clear. The players are not the problem. This whole mess came straight from the top.
My sense of this is that it's on the general manager and the coach. Okay, they stink. They have lost 14 of their last 16 games.
Okay, now we must break down how this thing became a total disaster. The way this all happened sounds unreal. For weeks, trouble was secretly growing. Chris Paul was speaking louder than ever about making everyone responsible. He was not just calling out players, he was checking the coaches and even the boss guys. That bold attitude made many people mad. That bad blood grew fast between Chris Paul and coach Ty Lue. Reports say they had not spoken for weeks before Paul got released. The silence was huge. At the same time, the Clippers were in a nightmare start to the 2025-26 season. They had a terrible 6-6 record that was second worst in the West, and it got worse. They could not even lose on purpose to get a better player later because their draft pick belonged to the Thunder. So they kept losing, they could not rebuild, and the team feeling was falling apart. Now we know Harden and Leonard were surprised. It's time to find out what really happened behind the curtain, because the fight between Paul and Lue is the key to this mess. Team guys say Paul and Lue hardly spoke. They only talked during games when they had to. Ty Lue said those rumors were false. He said that is not true when asked if they stopped talking. But what's coming out now shows a different story, a story full of real stress and secret fights that was deeper than anyone knew. When Ty Lue finally spoke, his words were quiet but telling. He said he did not like the ending, but the fit was just not right anymore. That one comment sparked even more questions about what really happened between him and Chris Paul.
Off the side, I don't like it. It just didn't work out like we thought it would. And like I said, I don't like it for CP. But it just wasn't a good fit. We understood that, and so like I said, it was an organization. They made the choice. And so moving forward, we got to see what we do. We'll see.
Listen to Ty Lue's words closely. He basically admitted it. Even though everyone was pumped about Chris Paul coming back, Paul's intense leadership just did not match the Clippers' plan, and the details about his fights with the coaches make the picture even clearer. One report showed a big moment with assistant coach Jeff Van Gundy. It proved how real the stress was. It happened in a game against the Mavericks. Kawhi Leonard was on a minutes restriction, and he was struggling to guard Klay Thompson after resting a bit. During a late timeout, Chris Paul went right to Kawhi. He suggested they switch who they guard on defense until Kawhi warmed up again. NBA insider Chris Haynes broke down that moment, and it showed how strained things had gotten inside the Clippers huddle.
Leonard is on a minute restriction, and sources told me that when he was guarding Klay Thompson, he was struggling when he got into the game after sitting down for a while. He was struggling keeping up with Klay Thompson. And so there was a timeout call late in that fourth quarter. And during the fourth quarter, and during that timeout, Chris Paul went to Kawhi Leonard and said, "Hey, man, are you fresh enough? Do you feel good? You feel like you can stick with Klay Thompson?" And he asked the teammates, he said, "Hey, y'all might want to switch this. Wait till he gets warm until he goes and guards Klay."
Now this is where things get super interesting. The very next day, the team was on the plane. Jeff Van Gundy pulled Chris Paul aside for a meeting. He straight up asked Paul if he had switched the defense assignments. Paul told him he did not change anything at all. He only suggested a quick fix to help the team win. But Van Gundy's face and reaction told the whole story. NBA insider Chris Haynes reported that the talk between them turned into a fight almost right away. That proves how tense things were behind the scenes.
And so I was told that Jeff Van Gundy told Chris Paul, "Listen, you might have had leeway in other places to be able to, to change up defensive coverages, but you don't have that leeway here." And that was just one of the minor verbal incidents between Jeff Van Gundy and Chris Paul. That was one of a few.
Did you catch that? You might have had leeway in other places, but you don't have that leeway here. That one line tells you everything about who has the power in the Clippers. The coaches were basically telling a future Hall of Famer, a 12-time All-Star with 20 years of top experience, that his amazing basketball smarts and leadership were not wanted. And Chris Paul did not let that go. He went on Instagram and posted a screenshot of the definition of the word leeway. It was a quiet but sharp message. It showed how frustrated he was with how they were treating him. The guys on NBA on Prime explained it perfectly. They said talking like this between coaches and players should be normal, not some screaming fight. Udonis Haslem, a veteran who knows team locker rooms better than anyone, was clear. Everything starts with trust, and without trust, problems like this explode fast.
I mean, just speaking on this specific incident that Chris is talking about, I've had those conversations with guys as we're leaving the huddle. Hey, let's try to look at this. Let's try to look at that. That's based on the trust that I've built with those guys, and that's based on the trust that I've built with the coaching staff. I am one of those guys that I will refuse to let one guy take down 15.
But the accusations do not stop there. Multiple team sources, even former players, are talking. They say Chris Paul's constant complaining about practice, player rotations, and overall team discipline was wearing down both Harden and Leonard. Reports claim the two stars got tired of Paul's style, even though they acted super shocked when he was cut. Kendrick Perkins knows the league and locker room drama better than almost anyone. He gave his take on the secret truth. He explained that for Ty Lue to reach a point where he is not speaking to a player, something major had to happen. That kind of complete silence doesn't happen unless the situation is already way past the breaking point.
And so when you think about, and we hear these stories about, oh, Ty Lue wasn't speaking to him, or he wouldn't take a meeting with him, or they wasn't on speaking terms for 3 weeks, it gets you to thinking, what the hell was CP3 doing? You get sent home at 3 o'clock in the morning? What the hell were you doing in that locker room? Because it wasn't just because of that event, that situation that happened. It was stuff that that kept building up throughout the course of the season. He was doing stuff behind T. Lue's back, going to players, whispering, saying things and causing turmoil when the team is already struggling and going through a lot.
Let us be totally clear. We are hearing different stories about this mess. The real truth is probably somewhere in the middle, but one thing is screaming out loud. Ty Lue admitted he did not want Chris Paul's time to end like this. He showed real respect for Paul, but he also said the team chemistry was just not working anymore. When reporters asked if he wanted CP3's career to go bad like this, Lue's answer was honest and felt heavy. It showed he knew how tough the whole situation had become.
Do I want to see CP go out like this? No, I have a lot of respect for him. He's been a friend of mine over the years, and you never want to see a great go out, like this. But I'm pretty sure he will find something because he's a great player. And so I didn't want to see it end like this.
The huge question everyone is asking right now is this: did Ty Lue actually help make the decision to kick Chris Paul out, or did Lawrence Frank and the boss guys do it all alone? When reporters pushed Lue on whether he liked the move, his answer shocked everyone. He said, "I do not think it will necessarily help our team." He added, "I do not think the reason why we are 5-16 is because of Chris." That is a super bold statement. Even the head coach admitted cutting CP3 was not a magic fix. The Clippers' troubles are way bigger than one veteran talking tough. They are near the bottom in scoring with 111.6 points per game. They are letting the other team score a huge 116.8 on defense. And Kawhi Leonard has already missed time with injuries. The team problems run way deeper than just one guy leaving. So what happens next? What is next for Chris Paul, the Clippers, and the league? Because this whole thing is blown up bigger than anyone thought. The damage is massive. Let us talk about Chris Paul first. Even after all this, he is acting like a total pro. In a big People magazine talk on December 9th, he said, "I am at peace with everything." And he said he has zero regrets. He even said stepping away gave him needed time with his family, like being there for his son's next game. And when Chris Haynes checked in on the future, CP3 did not hesitate. The future Hall of Famer made it clear he is focused, staying ready, and waiting for the next chance that comes his way.
Really layered situation, clearly. So what's next for CP3?
Well, I reached out to Chris Paul. He hasn't spoke yet, but I did reach out to him and asked him that very question. And he sent me a response back. And in his text message response, he said, "I'm just staying ready. I'm hooping right now. I don't know what's next."
Chris Paul said, "I do not regret anything," and he really meant it. He sees the whole mess as just part of his journey, not something to cry about. That kind of calm is what you expect from a top-level veteran. This is a guy who played 21 seasons. He has been traded, he has been doubted, and he has faced tough times non-stop, and he still acted like a total pro every single time. But here is the part that really hurts. Chris Paul had already said the 2025-26 season would be his final run in the NBA. When he signed with the Clippers in July 2025, he thought it was the perfect ending, a return to LA for a beautiful final chapter. This was supposed to be his victory lap, his storybook ending, and instead it turned into one of the fastest, meanest exits the league has seen in years. When Paul first signed with the Clippers, the feeling was real. He spoke openly about how much coming back meant to his family and how thankful he was to finish his career where his legacy truly exploded.
It's kind of wild, kind of crazy. Still kind of speechless. I'll probably have a lot of words later with my family. You're sort of just taking it, the whole experience in right now. This is one of those things I kind of manifested for a long time, sort of tried to speak it into existence. But you just never know if it's really going to happen, because I love to hoop. I love to play this game, but I love my family more than any of it.
When it comes to Chris Paul's next move, the rumors are flying everywhere. He is ready to be traded on December 15th, and suddenly a ton of teams are jumping into the mix. The Lakers are a huge story because he's tight with LeBron James. The Oklahoma City Thunder also makes total sense. Paul had a great run there mentoring Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Betting odds even list the Cleveland Cavaliers as the early favorite. The Spurs and Heat are also possible landing spots. But the thing that has the whole basketball world fired up is how Paul was treated when he left, and Stephen A. Smith did not hold back at all. He spoke the truth about a player who deserved way more respect than a cheap late-night firing.
This is Chris Paul. This is CP3. And Lawrence Frank is already on the record talking about, we're not blaming him. You lost 5 straight. You lost 5 straight. You see that tweet right there that Chris Paul just put out in the middle of the night. Just found out I'm being sent home. This is Chris Paul, the former president of the Players Association. 21st season, 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA selection, member of the 75th anniversary team, former Rookie of the Year, 6-time steals leader.
The real story here is what this mess tells us about the Los Angeles Clippers team. Draymond Green warned players everywhere. He said this proves that even respected veterans can be thrown away. That could scare off future stars from signing there. Carmelo Anthony called the Clippers method disrespectful, and Stephen A. Smith went even harder. He called the whole thing pathetic and embarrassing. He made it clear the team deserves to be blasted for how they handled Chris Paul being kicked out.
I think to send him home is so damn disrespectful that I'm still looking at the organization, which is the Clippers, which, by the way, deserves to be vilified.
And now we need to look at the bigger problems that are killing this team. The Chris Paul mess is just a sign of something way deeper. Remember the Paul George disaster? The Clippers gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Gallinari, 5 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps back in 2019. And now George is in Philly and the Clippers got nothing back. They also traded players and picks for James Harden. They gave Kawhi Leonard huge contracts even with his constant injuries. Now the team is sitting at a terrible 6-18 record. They have the oldest roster in the whole league, and their star player is only available part-time because of load management. Stephen A. Smith went even further. He asked how Lawrence Frank even got that much power in the first place. He questioned the awful decisions made under his watch. He made it clear the issues run way deeper than just one veteran being sent home.
First of all, you Lawrence Frank, he was brought there as an assistant coach under Doc Rivers. How is it that you go from an assistant coach to Doc Rivers, who, by the way, was running basketball operations and was the head coach of the Clippers, to all of a sudden being put over Doc Rivers as the head of basketball operations? And ultimately, Doc Rivers is gone. You talk about something, I don't know about, at the very least, we could say that smells, at the very least.
Talk about a franchise curse. It is blown up again. Many people are pointing to the Clippers' long history of chaos. Think about it, from the Donald Sterling scandals to non-stop playoff blowouts. One writer even said this team is not just unlucky, they actually keep the curse alive with moves like kicking out Chris Paul because he cared too much about winning. On NBA on Prime, the panel pointed out a major problem. It is how decisions are made inside the team. Udonis Haslem stressed it. Real locker room problems need to be handled by the people who are actually inside that locker room every single day.
There is Lawrence Frank's office? Where is his office at? Do you know?
Well, yeah, they got a brand new.
So it's not in the locker room. It's not in the locker room, basically.
It's not.
Okay, so he shouldn't be in nothing that got to do with locker room conversation. This is our sanctuary. This is our sanctuary. This is the coaches. This is the guys that come to practice every day.
So what is the real verdict here? We have to admit, there are different sides to this whole story, and the truth is not simple. Chris Paul is a demanding leader. He has high standards. That style works great with young teams looking for direction, but on a veteran team like the Clippers, full of stars who already do their own thing, his style might have clashed hard. But even with that, the way the Clippers handled this whole thing was totally out of line. You do not kick a future Hall of Famer out in the middle of the night on a road trip. You do not drop the news in a 3-hour meeting in an Atlanta hotel. A player with 21 years in this league deserves way more respect. You bring him back to Los Angeles. You sit down with him and his family. You talk it out. You work out a deal with dignity so he can leave on his own terms. Stephen A. Smith nailed exactly what the whole basketball world is thinking. You don't do that to him. This is Chris Paul. This is CP3. But that is not how it played out. And now the Clippers have to deal with the consequences. Their choice hurt their name. It made their fans mad. And it sent a loud message to every free agent about how they treat their stars. Meanwhile, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard are stuck trying to win games while outside noise and inside trouble keep growing. Their shock looked real, but it's hard not to wonder how much they really knew about what was happening. The Chris Paul chapter has ended on a bitter note. What happens next for CP3, the Clippers, and everyone else is still unknown, but the basketball world is not forgetting this story anytime soon. How do you feel about this whole situation? Was Chris Paul treated unfairly, or was this just part of the business? And where do you think he should go next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear your opinion. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to Basketball Pulse Stories for more NBA drama. Catch you in the next one. Peace.